Hello again. I'm Robin Walker with VSP Walker, and in this week's VSP Walker video blog, I'd like to talk about a false sense of urgency versus a true sense of urgency, or to put it another way, how about action versus activity? I think many of you might recognize this, but in years of consulting with different companies, I've walked into a lot of companies where I've recognized that just this flurry of activity that happens. You guys have probably experienced it. Everyone appears to be very busy. You're overworked. You have too much to do. No way you can fit it in 8 hours. And you're running from meeting to meeting. You're responding to emails. You're on 12 different project teams. And you have this flurry of activity that's going on. So everyone appears at the surface to be extremely busy, and there's just huge sense of urgency throughout the organization. But the question that I have for you, is that a true sense of urgency or a false sense of urgency? You know, if we just think about activity, let me tell you about a study that was done on swimmers. World-class swimmers, of all the energy that they expend swimming, only 9% of that energy actually propels them forward. The other 91% of the energy is lost. It dissipates to the side, it's creating bubbles, it's thrashing and splashing about. Maybe not splashing and thrashing with world-class athletes, but for you and I, or at least for myself, just a recreational swimmer, only 3% of all the energy that I expend in a pool moves me forward. So truly there is thrashing and splashing about in my case. But think about that, world-class athletes, only 9% of their energy. And you know, you think about that and you watch these in events and you make this correlation back to manufacturers and the companies that we're in every day. All this activity, is it wasted energy? How much of that is propelling people forward to the results that they need to have as a company? So, question that you might have is, well, how do I know? How do I identify whether I have a false sense of urgency, which by the way is a phrase coined by John Cotter. How do I know I have a false sense of urgency or if I have a true sense of urgency? Well, a false sense of urgency, a lot of times when you think about that, it's driven by negative feelings. So it's driven by fear or anxiety or anger. It's your boss screaming at you, execute, execute, execute. And you're so worried and you have so much anxiety about, a lot of times, not losing, that it feels very negative. So you know you have a lot to do, but it has a very negative feeling to it. A true sense of urgency, it's highly positive. It's highly focused on strategic results that you need to achieve as a company. It has a deep-seated feeling of determination. So it's not driven by anxiety. It's not driven about this anxiety of not losing, of not doing your job right, of getting fired. It's driven by a deep determination to win, to get the results that the leadership has spelled out needs to be achieved for the company. So there's a true difference there. Again, we can talk about action, we can talk about activity. There's a lot of activity that we do on a day-to-day basis. So what I'm going to challenge you for this week is to ask yourself a couple questions. Number one, are you engaged in activity, and a lot of activity, simply because you're afraid or anxious of losing? Or are you involved in actions that are specifically designed to get results, that you have a deep determination and you feel very positively about achieving? When you go through your day-to-day, when that person races in with an urgent issue, and you get into that firefighting mode, you have to answer this question, you have to go look at this, you have to come to this meeting, you have to respond to this email right away. Analyze all those events that happen on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, and analyze those and ask yourself, is this positive action driving me forward, or is this simply activity that is based in negativity, it's based in anxiety, it's based in fear, it's not getting me to those results that I need? So Ernest Hemingway once said that never mistake motion for action, and I think that's very true. So until next week, stay positive, focused, and determined. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I'll see you later.